Hello everyone, it's Ali from Candid Tourists. I hope you had a fantastic Christmas and New Year and you're all ready for some travel adventures in 2024. Today I just want to talk about booking cruises. We've been fortunate enough to go on a few cruises now, and just recently we've been looking at trying to secure a spot on board the Resilient Lady, the new Virgin Cruises cruise ship. This cruise ship is rumoured to be unlike anything that anyone has ever known about cruising before, and the other appealing thing that it had going for it was that it was adults only, in that there were no children on board. So this left us in a position now as to whether or not we would then travel down the go and get an agent, look after us path, or whether or not we would book independently. And we have done both in the past, although we lean toward using the use and services of a travel agent rather than doing it on our own. Even though working with the cruise directly, there isn't any issue with that, we just find that there's peace of mind that comes with a travel agent. Let me tell you a little bit more. There are a couple of reasons why we choose to use a travel agent. One, they've usually had some experience on the cruise ship that you're about to go on. Two, they've usually been to all the destinations that you're about to visit and can give you some insight on those. Three, they have some insider tips and probably ideas around perks and other benefits that you might get during the time of your cruise. Four, often the travel agency itself will allow you to pay the cruise off as you go. So if you do have some advanced time, you can pay off in increments over the course of a year, particularly as cruising can be quite expensive. And five, they sort out travel insurance. And as you know, you should never ever go out on any sort of trip unless you have some sort of insurance. This is a must. And six, why wouldn't you? If you get a really good travel agent, then if they've received some kickback for the work that they put in and the way that they look after you, then so be it. So I guess that makes seven, in that it's a little bit hassle-free. It's also as easy doing it yourself online, as long as you know where on the boat that you want to be, but you don't have that person to ask the questions of. And I personally don't find the Facebook forums quite that helpful. I think they are good to go in, have a look at and see and ask questions. But what I've experienced on those Facebook groups, and I've been a member of several of them with different cruises that we've had over the years, is that you will ask a question and you will get about 30 opinions, but you don't get the answer that you're seeking. So unless you want to be emailing to and fro with your cruise line, then that might not be a preferred option for you. Also, when you book with your cruise directly, you will need to organise your own travel insurance. You will need to organise your own flights. You will need to make sure that you get your own accommodation if you're going up prior to your cruise, which I strongly recommend. The next part I'd like to talk about is when is the best time to cruise? Now, Jeff and I work full time, so having time off together to go on a holiday is often quite difficult. I do have more flexibility, I guess, in my year than what Jeff does. We do have a little bit of long service leave up our sleeve as well, but you have to apply for that if you want to use it through your employer. To be informed of cruises that are coming up, we've subscribed to a few different cruise lines that we've been with before. Obviously, Princess, P&O, Norwegian, that's it, just the three. But we've also subscribed to newsletters from My Cruises, Oz Cruising, and a couple of others that might be around the place, because what they'll do is they'll put together sort of like a culminated list and they'll send it out on their email, which will give you some of the sales and specials and holiday packages that are available. So if you know what time of the year you're going to be planning on cruising, then when these newsletters and all of these specials start coming in, you'll be able to see if there's one that's assigned to the time that you have set aside and that you'll know you'll be available. Often cruise lines will give you last minute specials. These are fantastic and I have almost wept over some of them. I do like cruising. When you opened up an email and they have a half price discount, or they've dropped the price to an unbelievable amount. And I've just looked at those deals and just thought, wouldn't it be good just to be able to just jump onto that and go next week? It can be that case if you're lucky enough for that to be you, but it's not the norm, unfortunately. So we determined when in the new year we were going to be available for cruising, when we would have that time off together. And we kept an eye out starting many, many months ago over what cruises might be available in that time. And I know that Jeff was actually specifically looking at something through Princess. So I think there was the Royal Princess that had a sailing that was going on. And then through My Cruises, we had this deal that suddenly just came up through his searching and through their email for the Resilient Lady, the Virgin Cruises Resilient Lady. And this was a really, really good deal, obviously with the move from Athens to Sydney so that they could start sailing around in the southern hemisphere. They wanted to try and encourage as many people on board, and they did that with really great, exciting deals. In fact, there was a flight that took place, a Virgin flight, and everyone on that flight actually got a free cruise. So that's the kind of push that they were making at the time. And the deal that came through on our My Cruises was transfers and flights to Melbourne to then take an international flight across to Auckland, to get on the ship at Auckland for an 11-night cruise, and then to get back onto a flight back home here to Hobart. It also included the accommodation at Melbourne and Auckland. It also included a $900 bar tab. So this was a deal that we just couldn't not take up. And it just so happened that My Cruises are Flight Centre. We didn't know that at the time. So when Jeff worked that out, he headed down to Flight Centre. They don't sponsor us, they have nothing to do with us, but Michelle at Flight Centre in at Centre Point at Hobart, she did a fantastic job getting us all sorted out. We picked up our paperwork just this week. We're only a few weeks off. And she did an amazing job of putting this together. In fact, this is a little wad of all the itineraries, the transfer, all the itineraries, the flight details, the cruise details, our travel insurance details are all in this handy pack. And she did such a great job of putting these little pieces together. I won't show you all of them, but they're all labelled up for us. So there's the Melbourne flight, and there's the Melbourne Airport Hotel accommodation. And they're all in here within arm's reach for when we are ready to head off on our big adventure. So like I said, I mean, apart from Jeff giving her a call, asking me a few questions, finding out a little bit more about the ship, they then did all of this for us, including the flights, the times, everything. I know it can feel a bit stressful because you're giving away money, you're paying for a big holiday, there's a lot going on, that kind of thing. But in the hands of a travel agent, it certainly does make life a lot less stressful, especially when all you need to do is turn up at the airport with your bag and you know that they've done all the hard work. So for me, I highly recommend it. So what do you prefer? Do you prefer to use a travel agent, or would you prefer to contact the cruise line directly or go through another option? I'd really like to hear what you have to say about that, so pop it down in the comments. I think that would be really helpful to other people who are toying up between the two, or they're looking for a reputable place where they can go and have a look for their next cruise. So don't forget to share. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are. There is a lot of hype at the moment around the Resilient Lady. It's been in the news, and the Facebook forum is going off with lots of comments about everything ranging from the facilities to the lack of storage space in the cabin, and to the food and to the entertainment. And I can't wait to get on board and start putting together some videos that I can then bring back and share with you. And if you have been watching our channel, you know that we like to have a bit of fun on board and bring you a day in the life of us, really. And a few of those things I'm sure that you'd be really interested in are things like the bar tab and how that's going to work with us. You know that we've had drinks packages on all of our cruises. So how's this going to compare with our drink habits? There are also a whole range of specialty restaurants on board. There are 20 eateries, but there are about 6 restaurants. So bringing you a little bit of an idea of what our experience is in those restaurants. The entertainment is quite different on this ship, and a lot of it's happening later at in the evening, and I'll tell you how I know that in an upcoming video, because the next video that I'm going to do, we're going to have a look at the Virgin app itself. I'll show you what that looks like, what sort of extras you might be able to get yourself, how the bar tab works, and also how you might book for your restaurants and also your shows. So if you're interested in finding out a little bit more about that, make sure you subscribe and check us out in the next video. We are really excited about traveling back to New Zealand again. We were there on the Norwegian Jewel some time ago, right before, you know, the dreaded And we had an absolute ball there. We got to see lots of places, and we are going to go back to some of those places, but we have some new ones as well. Unfortunately, we didn't get to Tauranga last time, and we are going to Wellington, which is a new addition this time, and spending a little bit more time in Auckland. So if you are a New Zealand viewer and you have any, or you've been to New Zealand and you have any tips about what we might do in Auckland, Wellington, Picton, Napier, or Tauranga, by all means, let us know in the comments. We'd be interested to find out what you would suggest for us to be doing. So thanks for sticking around and watching the video. We really appreciate it. And until next time, see you later.